The average pass rate across the UK at the moment is around 45%, with some people actually needing up to 30 attempts. It doesn't matter how much driving practice you get, some people just aren't great at driving tests. Maybe it's just working under pressure, maybe it's just bad luck, whatever the reason is. The average pass rate across the UK at the moment is around 45%, with some people actually needing up to 30 attempts. Yes, you heard me correctly, 30 attempts. 30, not 3, 30. But does this change depending on where you take your test? Short answer, yes it does. But I guess the question is, why? The driving test is supposed to check whether you're a safe and capable driver on every road and every possible event in the UK. But realistically, we have to squeeze a test into 40 minutes of driving. So there's no possible way that it can test you on every single one of these events. Essentially, you can only be tested on what is up to 20 minutes away from the test centre. If there's not a dual carriageway with slip roads 20 minutes from the test centre, such as Stafford, then you can't be tested on that. If there's not a country road 20 minutes from the test centre, then you can't be tested on that. It all depends on what is around your test centre. Which actually makes sense, because if you live near the test centre and that's your closest test centre, then that's what you're going to have to deal with day to day. They also hope that if you're being sensible and driving sensibly in those 40 minutes, chances are you're going to be sensible and be able to drive in every other situation as well. That's the idea anyway. For them to realistically test you on every situation, such as country roads, busy town centres, roundabouts, dual carriageways, motorways, and the list goes on, you'd need at least a full day of driving tests, if not a full week of driving tests, or dare I say, even a month. Frankly, I am glad that it's just 40 minutes, and I'm sure you guys are as well. This does, however, affect your chances of success. Let's have a look at the top 10 highest pass rate test centres first. So in 2016, these were the highest test centre pass rates. Now, I'm not even going to try and pronounce some of these names because I am just a Sassenach. But I can tell you, a lot of them are in very quiet areas of Scotland. There are also some quiet areas in England as well. What I can't see in there is any big cities. Now let's jump forward to 2018. Now jumping forward to 2018, these are the easiest test centres to pass your driving test. Now, once again, I'm not going to try and pronounce some of these because I'm just going to make a fool of myself. But as you can see, a number of these places are in remote, quiet areas of Scotland. Now, unsurprisingly, there does seem to be a slight correlation that the quieter the area is, the higher the pass rate seems to be. Unsurprisingly, as you might think, less cars, quieter area, less hazards, less things crossing the road in front of you, more space in the road, more chance of passing your test. Now let's have a wee look at the top 10 lowest pass rates in the United Kingdom. Have a look at this map. As you can see, you have areas highlighted in green. The greener an area is, the higher the chance you have of passing. Then we have areas that are highlighted in orange and red. The redder an area is, the less chance you have of passing in that test centre. There does seem to be a bit of a correlation if you have a look. The greener area is, generally it seems to be a very quiet area. It doesn't seem to be a big city nearby, generally on the outskirts of the UK. Then you have the areas highlighted in red. And where do they all tend to be? Near a big city. You've got one at the top of Scotland there that you can see, smack bang on Edinburgh. Then if you look at the UK in the bottom right, you've got a lot of highlighted red areas which centre around big cities such as London and Birmingham. So in 2016, the three areas with the lowest pass rate were West Midlands, Bedfordshire and Greater Manchester. What do these three areas have in common? They all have a very large city. Now let's jump forward again to 2018 and have another look. Now once again, we have the lowest pass rate to be the West Midlands, followed closely by Liverpool. Again, closely followed by London, Leeds and Wolverhampton. What do these all have in common? Yes, you guessed it, they are all cities. This would again back up our idea that the quieter areas with less vehicles, less potential hazards do generally have a higher pass rate, but the story doesn't end there. There is a bit more to it than that. As with all driving, this is not just a black and white picture. There is some grey, there is some colour in there as well. For instance, there are a far lower number of students at these test centres with a very high pass rate. such as Mallaig, I apologise if I pronounced that completely wrong, which actually only has 18 students from April to December. That's 2 students per month. Now, there's also a number of students out there that are scared to death of driving on country roads. I've got students myself that don't like country roads and are far more comfortable on inner city roads as well. My brother, for example, lives in the centre of Birmingham and he wouldn't dream of driving on a country road. In fact, he hates driving with me coming to my house because it's all country roads in all the surrounding area and it scares him to death. Lorries really close to you, roads are really narrow, you're going at 60 miles an hour on these huge bends. It's not a comfortable feeling for people that just aren't used to it. He's far more comfortable in an environment where he can just follow the car in front and do whatever they do. So it shows it's just what you're used to. Now, following on from that, the point of all this was not for everyone to jump in their cars and start forcing their instructors to the quietest remote corners of Scotland. No. If you live in a city centre and that's where your test centre is, regardless of the pass rate, that's where you should be doing your test because that's where you're going to be driving every day. That's where you need to go to work. That's where you need to drop your family off. That's where you need to go shopping. So there's no point doing your test in the quietest area in the country. What the point of this is, however, is to show the importance of making sure you are super ready for your driving test. Now, my next video is going to follow up with how to prepare for driving nerves, because this is probably one of the highest reasons for failing your driving test. No, you don't actually fail for the examiner saying you've got dodgy nerves. You end up failing for something like not checking your mirrors or pulling out a roundabout, but this normally is due to you being very nervous. Now, the best way to avoid this is to make sure you're really ready for your test. And to do that, you need to communicate with your driving instructor. Before you book your driving test, ask your driving instructor if you are ready. If they say no, ask them why. If you still don't agree with their decision, book a driving lesson with another driving instructor. You don't have to even tell them. Get a second opinion. At least that way, if they say yes, you are ready, you've got your opinion. If they also say no, you're not ready, there you go. They aren't going to lie to you. They don't need your money. They just don't want to see you going in with your gun half cocked. It makes you look silly, it makes them look silly, and it's dangerous. I hope this helped. Any questions at all, as per usual, get them in the comments, join the Discord, join the community. There's quite a few people in there now. I'd love you to join us as well. Otherwise, feel free to like, subscribe, whatever helps you. I wish you all the best in your driving journeys. May the force be with you. Josh out.